Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're going to be talking about the Odyssey by Homer, and I want to show you all this is what was read for the month of January 2026. This was my goal, these books, and I did it, which it feels pretty good. Feels pretty good reading all that. I might finish Marcus Aurelius's Meditations before the end of this month. I don't know, but I did finish this, and I wanted to talk about it because, wow, was this book amazing. I read it in high school, freshman year of high school, and I think it's a shame that I guess they're not doing the Odyssey or the Iliad anymore in high school. And you know what? Like, it's a shame, but I'd rather they not do it than give the butchered versions of what I got in high school, because Odysseus coming back to Ithaca is so cool. It is amazing. It's incredible. Like, those last 6 chapters are great. I love it. I love that he doesn't really have any remorse, because in the one I read in high school, it's been 8 years, mind you, but from what I remember, I did always find it weird, the one in high school, he shoots his bow when he comes back and proves that he's him, and then all the suitors kind of leave him alone. And he leaves them alone. And I was always like, what? I always found that weird. But no, he, like, murders all of them, essentially. Like, kills almost all of them. But yeah, this book easily is a must-read for anyone and everyone. I'm sorry to say it. I know a lot of people are going to be like, ugh, what do you mean it's a must-read? Like, the Iliad, it's cool, it gives you context, because this book brings up Achilles, Agamemnon, Menelaus, maybe it brings up Hector once, I don't remember it bringing up Hector, but it brings up a lot of the characters from the Iliad, and it talks about events that happened in the Iliad, although you kind of can get like a summary and understand it, but it'll provide you with more context if you read the Iliad first. That was also a weird thing in high school. They went backwards. They did the Odyssey, then the Iliad. I have no idea why they did that. Even in the Iliad, I mentioned in my Iliad review that they neutered it like a lot. It was censored to all oblivion, and so is this. This was censored, and they also. I was so shocked. The first like 6 pages, or not 6 pages. I wish 6 chapters are just talking about Telemachus and him going to find his dad, and he talks with Menelaus and his wife Helen, and they're going to help him find his dad, and they eventually send him home and whatnot. But yeah, I don't remember Telemachus being a part of this book in any way, shape, or form when I read it in high school, which is just like, yeah, why are you going to completely neuter a book and then have us read it because it's a classic? It's like, it's at that point, it's not a classic. And you know, I've been questioning with all the classics I've read what defines a classic, and you know, honestly, it's obvious. I mean, it's a book that transcends time. Time is the filter of these books. If they last throughout time, you understand what is a classic. There's a series I'm listening to right now. I do want to disclose that as well. I haven't listened to any of these books that I showed you guys for this month. I was really against audiobooks, and I did some research, and audiobooks are best taken when you've done some research on the book you're going to be listening to, because I tried listening to the first Witcher book, and I could not. And then I tried listening to Blood of Elves, and again, I could not listen to it. I was like, I'm not picking anything up, and I just went back, restarted the whole book, and just read it from scratch. There is no way I could listen to this book. There's absolutely no way. I would get lost so quickly. But like books like I'm listening to Project Hail Mary. I've done some research on that, and you know, I'm gonna disclose when I review books if I've listened to them. I don't want to come off like I'm false advertising at all. Like, when I say I've read all these books, I mean I legitimately read all these books. I did not listen to any of them. But the Odyssey is great. Sorry, I keep getting off on these tangents because there's things I want to talk about. There's a lot of stuff I'm doing, but the Odyssey's great because when you read it, you realize how many movies and things in media kind of use the Odyssey as a blueprint. And as I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like literally, it's so masterful. And I was like, wow, I'm like, there's a lot of things in media that are kind of using this as a schematic. And it's so great having that in my head. But also, I also want to say that I like where people say the book ends at, was it 308? Yes. Page 308. So 16 pages before the final page of the Odyssey, at verse like 290, what would that be, 5? Or line 295? While they were talking, Eurynome and the nurse, by the light of torches, were putting soft bedclothes on their bed. When the work was done and the bed comfortably made, the old woman went back to her own quarters for the night, and the housekeeper, Eurynome, with a torch in her hands, lit them on their way to bed, taking her leave when she had brought them to their room, and blissfully lay down on their own familiar bed. That is considered by two ancient critics, it has a footnote, that in a lot of people, modern day, believe that is the end of the book. However, there's another 16 pages that a lot of other people think are legitimately Homer, because it's contested that the book contradicts itself 3 times in these last 16 pages. And maybe 4, but I know it's 3 at least. In the last page and a half, it contradicts itself 3 times. So I don't really like the last part. It does give you more context, but me personally, I kind of liked where it ended, because I didn't realize this, but like Odysseus proves to his wife Penelope that he is him because he talks about how he made his bed. And the book ending with them going and lying on their bed, it's like, yeah, that's perfect. And there is kind of a slight stylistic change with how the book is written. Granted, it's the same translator, so they might have tried to make it smoother, or if they're, biased, they might have tried to make it rougher to really put that in. But no, I do like where it says it does end or can end earlier rather than later, just because of the contradictions. It really bothers me how, the suitors' lineage come to start a war with Odysseus, which is like, yeah, that makes sense. That's not a crazy thing to think about. But she's like, she tells Zeus that she doesn't want a war, she wants peace, and that Odysseus was supposed to die. He's prophesied to die peacefully of old age. So a war comes, and when you hear that prophecy, you think, okay, well, I'm not really thinking about the suitors' homeland. I almost thought the suitors were from Ithaca, and I wasn't really thinking about it. But I think it does say they're from somewhere else. And so, anyways, they come from the foreigners come. They try and start a war with Odysseus. Athena, who says to Zeus, I don't want there to be a war, and he says, do as you please. And by the way, Zeus is like practically absent. All the other gods are absent. Athena is like the most involved one here. And she's like, okay, I don't want there to be a war. Goes down, and she like literally has herself and Zeus help Odysseus murder one of these people from a foreign land, making the conflict start, and then immediately after, she's like, wait, stop fighting! And it's like, what are you talking about? It was so weird. That happened in the last page and a half, mind you. It was so strange. That's kind of why I don't like the last few pages. It doesn't wrap up as neatly as it does on page 308. So there's that. What else is there? Oh yeah, and I see why some people, they say this about Shakespeare too, but that right there it does make you think that Homer was multiple people. They say that about Shakespeare and they say that about Homer. And I didn't really have that thought in the Iliad, but that right there, that last 16 pages made me think that. So, yeah, I would say though, even with that, which in my opinion is kind of I don't like it, I do think this book is 100% worth your time. And I will probably go back to this one. I said I probably wouldn't go back to the Iliad. I will go back to this one, for sure. It's so shocking how the book is paced, because it reminds me of so many different movies I've watched just growing up, and how they're paced. And I love it. And then I love the character of Odysseus, too. I hate how they say quick-witted, quick-thinking in the Iliad, and he kind of doesn't really come across as quick-witted. It's like, oh, he just said this. Maybe it's because the book moves so slowly. But in this, he legitimately seems very, like, he thinks of things very quickly. And I really like how they show that. Whether it be the Cyclops, or it be lying to people when he comes back to Ithaca. And he has this whole elaborate plot, because Athene says he shouldn't show himself right away. And the part where he takes his bow and he shoots through the holes in the rings and the axes just perfectly, and all of a sudden I can't snap. And he just shows himself, like it almost immediately changes as he completes that task, and he turns to the suitors and it's talking about how he's going to murder them. It's such a cool moment. And I don't really view Odysseus as the villain in this. He's been gone for 20 years, and they've been, ravaging his household, raping his maids, and, harassing his son. Like, yeah, I don't think he should be, turning the other cheek, right? Yeah, it's great. And, he doesn't seem like a monster, because his son tells him to not kill 2 of the suitors at the end, and he doesn't. He doesn't kill them. He's like, I will show you mercy because my son has asked me to give you mercy. So, yeah, I definitely think it's so good. It really is. I think the beginning is super slow with Telemachus. I didn't really care about him. Knowing that Tom Holland's going to be Telemachus is kind of funny in my head. And I think Christopher Nolan picking Matt Damon is okay. I think Matt Damon needs to bulk up. I haven't seen him in a while, but Matt Damon is literally the perfect age, by the way. They bring up, like, age a lot because he's been gone for 20 years. I think Matt Damon being 55 is, like, perfect for the movie. And again, when I was reading this, I was thinking to myself, how the hell are they going to make this a movie? There is so much in this that I don't know how you could make a good movie. But if anyone can do it, it's going to be Christopher Nolan. I do think people were saying, oh, that movie's going to be 3 hours at least. And I was like, really? And now that I've, like, fully read it, I agree. I think the movie's probably going to be 3 hours and, like, 10 minutes. We don't know that for sure. It might be less, but there is so much. And with how Christopher Nolan does things, I definitely think it'll probably go for at least 3 hours, which I'm completely fine with. I'm actually more excited for the movie now that I've read this. And part of the reason I read this was not just for a philosophy project, but it was for the movie as well. I like to compare things a lot. I haven't posted it yet, most likely, but like Hell's Paradise is a manga, and I saw the trailer for that series, and I read it so I could compare how the show was. I also was just interested, but it's one of those things. It's like, I want to see how the guy, like, interprets it, whatever. Anyways, yeah, would highly recommend. I rambled for a long time. But I liked it a lot more than the Iliad, if you could not tell. But that's about it. See ya.